King back here in the Lion's Den, bringing you a special episode of Enigma. And this is a Canadian question, since I am Canadian, and I have debated long and hard on which color to paint my Canadians for Global War 36. Well, this is our current paint scheme you see before us. Before I dive into it and explain what it is, I have gone through Canadian colors several times. I've painted them kind of an ocean mist teal color. I've painted them a lighter red color. And kind of the last version is a darker red, as you can see before you. And the reason why is because, if many of you know, the Canadian maple leaf is a red maple leaf on our flag, as well as flanked by two panels of red with white in the middle. So I figured, you know what, even now, or prior to that, I think prior to 1967, we had basically a red flag with a Union Jack, so on and so forth, that basically personified the Canadian flag at that time. So really red and white has kind of always been in our color palette. So what I've decided to do here is, rather than just go with a standard red, as you can see right here, I figured for the first time in my color scheme history, I've decided to give the Canadians two colors, not just one. And in comparison to, let's say, a Japanese plane or a German plane that has one color and everything's tipped, like a medium bomber here, or a fighter, or in this case a heavy fighter on this side, or even a Vichy fighter for Vichy France is a certain color, but you know, everything is tipped, so you can immediately understand or see what type of plane that is. Well, here with the Canadians, it's two-toned, and you can see I painted it red for the base and then hand-painted white for two reasons. One, just to give the Canadians a pop and define them against other red nations. Like, I believe I have my Chilean troops, a red. I have the Communist Chinese, the CCP, red. And there might be one or two other nations on the board, but relatively minor or far enough away that Canada, they wouldn't be confused. But I found by two-toning it and sticking true to the Canadian colors of our current flag and prior, this does give it just a little bit over-the-top look. And I do like how it came out with. To give you an example here, for the Canadian expansion, here's the Home Guard, and I just painted a white base around there and added the traditional World War II Canadian flag, as well as we have the Devil's Brigade here as well. And you can see that in some clarity. It's painstaking because you have to add the white and make it look half decent. And if you take a look at this seaplane, this Sutherland seaplane, we've stayed true with the blue, and we have the white highlights. And then it really is nice because the ensign, or not the ensign, but the roundel, the Canadian Air Force roundel, really does stand out, right? So all in all, I'm actually pretty happy with how some of these planes have turned out. And then here, I think we have a C-46 is a transport. And of course it's white, so I've just brought white all the way through, and there's no other color tip. So that actually worked out quite well for certain units in the Enigma scheme that are white, like transports, and so on and so forth. Here is a mosquito painted out in Canadian colors too, as well. There's certain limits to certain sizes, you know, and how I'm going to basically just paint them all. But nonetheless, they do turn out. And I believe this is a Hawker Hurricane. I painted in Canadian colors too, as well. You know, and once again, I think it just gives it the nice pop that you need, just to represent Canada. And since I am Canadian, and since I love Global War, I almost feel my Canadians not necessarily should be the best painted pieces on the board, but definitely a little bit of attention, right? Here's I think it's not, this could be a Priest self-propelled artillery. I can't quite remember, but nonetheless, right? With the blue and the black note there, but you know, the red and the white to represent the Canadian. Artillery, pretty basic. I didn't even put any randles on there, but you don't just need to have it red. I just put a little bit of white highlights there as well, you know, and this is kind of the key balance of trying to make them look half decent without going overboard, right? Right here we have a motorized, and I believe this is actually Canadian or British design, this motorized, so obviously I had to do this. And people could get confused, well, what is it? Is it transport? Well, it's motorized because of the yellow scheme, but I wanted to go with that red and white to kind of tie in the planes and everything else all in, right? So this is going to be a lot of painstaking work. This is, I believe, a Stuart light tank. Trying to figure out what I want to do. I might even change this and do a white base or even a white turret and put my Randall up on top there. But like I say, in time, we'll tell the tale. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little video and tell me what you guys think. Obviously, there's many more different units to paint and many more of the same to paint. But anyways, nonetheless, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Panzer King, the Lion's Den signing out. You guys all stay classy.